explaining policies to individuals is not about reading the policy out to them, because policies tend to be a little bit wordy. They're not written in user language, in straightforward English. I guess none of you, except the police officers amongst us, have ever read the Road Traffic Act. In fact, by the look of the police officer I can see, he's never read it either. The Road Traffic Act is not very helpful in terms of driving your car. Here's a document that you've not seen for a while if you're a driver. How many of you read it recently? So you've had a child trying to pass a test? Yep. No? How many of you... So do you all drive, yeah? Most of you? And you've not read this recently? How do you expect your users to read your policies if you won't read the book that governs how you use the road? I may wait a while for an answer. This gives it in simple English. This explains the use of your car, etc. on the road. You need to be doing that with your users. Get it down to the real basic stuff. And then we have traffic signs on the road. Very simple. I guess you all understand what that means. No one's struggling with that, yeah? That's different to a 30 sign. It says you have to do 30. Okay. The last bit was to enforce. How do you enforce policies? You've got a set of policies. How are you going to enforce them? Well, the first thing you've got to do is tell people the rules. Give them a chance. They're not going to guess this stuff. You need to tell them what they can, what they can't do, what's acceptable in your organisation. Then you can have some technical controls. We have technical controls that look like when you change your password, you can't use Rover for the name of your dog. It's got to be minimum 6 characters, upper and lower case, and alphanumeric. We have a technical control that forces users down that route. They cannot choose a simple password. That's a fairly effective way of doing things. We have technical controls that stop people looking at certain internet sites. That stops them breaking the law, which is a useful feature. We also have monitoring, and I guess a lot of organisations do. We can monitor what is written in emails, we can monitor what people use systems for, how often they're using them, etc. It's a fairly common thing to do. And then there are sanctions and rewards. Rewards are very rare. I've yet to see many organisations using the reward process in terms of people following policy and getting treated well for it. Or what we normally see is sanctions. If you do bad things, you'll get sacked. Yeah, that's fairly straightforward. It's a pretty difficult carrot, really, to deal with. I'm not sure how you reward people for doing the right thing. I think it's quite tricky. But we have pilots, unlike most of you guys. I guess many of you don't employ many pilots, yeah? Yeah, we're quite unique. Why do pilots follow the rules? Why do you think pilots follow? There's 2 reasons for this, 2 really key reasons. The first one's blatantly obvious. Maybe not to you guys. The first one's blatantly obvious. The risks are clear. Did anyone see the news this morning? Anyone see the news? Sudan, aeroplane? Okay. Pilots follow the rules because they know it's a good thing to do. They are actually bothered about living, yeah? They're quite keen. On that sort of salary, so would I be, okay? The other reason they follow the rules is this. That's a black box. I know it's orange, but honestly it's black. That's a flight recorder. That tells us exactly what the pilots did, and we have one that will tell us what the pilots said. And they are downloaded every single day, and anything that is out of the norm will be flagged up. And any pilot that is flying the airplane in a bad way will be spoken to, okay? They know that everything they do is recorded. So it drives them to good practice. That's easy to do with our pilots, not so easy with our staff. Here's a little example of a little exercise we did. And I've titled it, Beware the User. If you received an email and it said urgent, and you could see that it was from someone within your organisation, would you open the email? Hands up, please. A few of you have not put your hand up. Do you do any work? I guess not. If you got an email from an employee within your organisation, you may not know the person, but if it said urgent, you'd probably open it and have a read, yes? It's a fairly reasonable thing to do. If it said the following, would you have a look at the attached file? Hands up. Less of you, but a few of you would have a look. If that was the file, how many of you would have a look at the attached file? Any hands? Oh, yeah, thank you. One. Okay. If I showed you this a few years ago, quite a lot of people would have had their hands up because they didn't realize the importance of the exe bit on the end, the executable. We actually put this email out in our organization a few years ago prior to some education that we did. And this is the results. Are you sitting comfortably? We sent 100, 84 people opened the email, so 16 of our people couldn't be bothered. That's very odd. I still don't understand that. 69 opened the attachment, or attempted to open the attachment, but the attachment was opened 146 times. One of the ladies was very, very persistent. It wasn't actually an attachment, it was a button. And when you clicked on it with either mouse button, it sent us an email back saying, this Muppet has attempted to open the email. So that's what your users will do. Do not be surprised if your users will do that. You can put controls in place, you can have policies in place, but you have to make sure they're working. So the enforcement bit is a key element. And this is probably my favourite picture of all time. Someone has spent good money putting that barrier in. And I apologise if there are any people in the room who look after the facilities management side of their organisations, but I think the facilities management people in this organisation only think it's a problem in the winter. They have attempted to put some little blocks at the right-hand side to stop people driving round the barrier. You can see how effective they are.